Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start, I would like to ask you something. How often you stare at your phone during this pandemic? How many hours have you spent on social media? Or have you ever thought that why a comment from the most random people on the internet that you don't even know can get you overthink? These are questions that often arise during this current pandemic. But before I answer any of those questions, let me introduce myself. My name is Cakap, and today I would like to talk about how this COVID-19 pandemic affect our culture on using the internet. But before that, I would like to thank to the honorable judges, the committees, the staff, fellow participants, and everyone who's watching this video right now. So let's start, shall we? COVID-19 has certainly had an impact on all of us from various aspects. Because of it, we have to use masks every time we go outside. We have to wash our hands every time we want to do basically anything. We have to keep our distance. We have to follow health protocol and more, you name it. But there is one thing that has changed, and it is so obvious and visible right now. And that thing is how most of our daily activities begin to shift towards digital. Since the pandemic hit us, we study from home. Our parents work from home. Even music concerts have moved to digital platforms. The point is, because this pandemic requires us to stay at home more often, most of our activities has now become centered in one thing, namely the internet. And that is what I want to focus on today. There is no doubt that the internet has become a part of our life as a modern human. With internet, we can access everything. And with it, our life as a human can become easier. But of course, apart from having a positive impact, it also has a negative side, even dangerous if you can use it wisely. Due to the very free nature of the internet, it is very possible for anybody to abuse it. Reporting from Kominfo, the amount of internet users in Indonesia has reached 202.6 million in 2021. Can we just take a second to realize how much of a number 200 million people is? Anyway, there is also a survey that shows 87% of children in Indonesia has already used social media even before they're turning 13 years old, of which 13 years old is the minimum age for a person to use a social media. For minors, the internet and social media could become a very dangerous place for them, because there they can become a target of irresponsible people who will justify anything to their personal purpose and advantage or whatever. But because this pandemic requires us to stay at home more often, the amount of underage children who using the internet is also increasing. If we look at the data before and after the pandemic, there is fairly noticeable increase. COVID-19 entered Indonesia in March 2020. And around that time, the amount of internet users are around 175 million. But after it spread and everything went digital, it increased to the point it reached 202.6 million, which was a very rapid increase compared to the last year. But however, the rapid development of the internet is not accompanied by a good understanding and knowledge of the activities in the digital world itself. So I think there are many people who are not ready to use the internet yet. One of which was the minors that I just mentioned earlier. Before everything went digital, these children spend their time by playing with their friend, maybe go for a walk or other things. But because this pandemic forced them to stay at home more often, they get less time to play with their friends. So they look for other way to get rid of their boredom by playing the internet, be it through social media or online games. And this could be really dangerous for them. Let's say, for example, there's a kid who's playing social media and he get hate speech. They doesn't yet have the mental stability to deal, to face, or even accept these comments. As a result, it could make them lack of confidence, anxiety, or even depression. And if you play online games, then you must already know that most popular online games have a real toxic fandom and communities. So the more they spend their time surrounded by these people and this environment, it will affect their behavior in the real world. And the most difficult thing to overcome in this problem is the internet can make them, or even all of us, addicted. Then, why this is happening? Well, first of all, because basically there is nobody to teach them on how to use the internet properly. There is no lesson in school on how to use social media. Even most parents don't even understand the internet either. And they're also busy with work, so they can't teach their kids. So, what should we do? Well, there are several ways to at least reduce this problem. And one of the most important one is parent roles. It is your duty to educate your children. Teach them that if they are not old enough, then they should not use the social medias yet. Teach them that to use the internet, it requires a good understanding. Spend more time with them. Like, I know you are busy, but you don't want your kids to be a victim of irresponsible people on the internet, isn't it? Well, it's not only limited to parents. If you have a younger sibling, teach them. You can teach them the same thing as well. Spend more time with them. Invite them to play. And even everyone, all of us, ladies and gentlemen, we can participate in this problem by simply starting by yourself, by ourselves, by namely maintaining our attitude, by using manners, and most importantly, respecting the opinions of others. Well, that is all I can say for today. If I said something wrong, if there is a mistake that I made, I apologize. Terribly sorry for that. But hopefully, what I've said today could be useful for all of us. That's all I can say. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.